Hi everyone, welcome back to Factions and Fate. I'm Josh,
I'm
and
curvy.
joining me today is my wife Kirby, and who has so graciously volunteered to learn how to play 40K. So Kirby, what's your experience with 40K?
Absolutely zero.
Exactly. So she has no experience with this. None of this is scripted. Yes, it is pre-recorded, but it's not scripted. So any questions she has is going to be from the new player perspective. So we thought it would be, or I thought it would be good to have um, that experience. That way, those of you watching may have some of the same questions, especially if you're brand new. So if you're brand new or just starting out and you want to join Kirby on this path of learning how to play 40K, hit the like, subscribe, notifications. That way you can catch all of our videos in this series. And yes, it is a series. We're going to break these down into smaller pieces. That way we can do it justice and not speed through everything in an hour, because that's just not enough to really learn how to play the game. Intent is when we're done with these videos, Kirby, as well as you watching, will be able to feel confident and go into the tabletop and play in a game. All right, so what is 40K? So 40K is a game played by two people. It's a game of communication. There's no hidden information, meaning that you will tell your opponent everything about your army and they will tell you everything about theirs. And both players are free to ask any questions regarding individual units, army rules, and that information is provided when asked. It's also a game about scoring points. That's what determines the winner. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. Even if your army's destroyed, if you have 1 point at the end of the game, more than your opponent, you'll win. It's played over 5 battle rounds, and each round consists of 2 turns, one for each player. And the last thing, the most important thing, is be the best opponent you can be and have fun. Be someone that people want to play the game with. So, but to get started, we're going to start at the beginning for new players is choosing an army. All right. So this is something that, if you know nothing about 40K, the easiest way for you to do it is to go to your local game store, check out the different armies, look at the boxes of all the models, and just pick something that looks cool to you. Don't let somebody persuade you on something because something is doing really good at tournaments right now. Games Workshop does a really good job at trying to balance this game. So at any given time, one army could be doing better than others, and eventually they all have their spot in the limelight. So don't let anybody persuade you. Just pick what looks cool to you, because this is an investment of time and money. This will take you a while to assemble all the armies or assemble your army as well as paint. So Kirby's seen me spend many hours.
Many hours.
Yeah, so make sure it's something that you are interested in, whether it be you know nothing about it and they just look cool, or if you know something about the lore and one faction really sticks out to you in the lore, go with that. Once you've selected your army and you're in the building process, you're looking at quite a few hours spent building and painting. So while you're doing that, you might as well like and subscribe and watch the rest of our videos and learn how to play while you're doing that. All right, so you've chosen your army. The next step to that is going to be probably the easiest way, rather than going out and just buying one of everything, is to start with your codex, which every army has a codex. All right, this book is going to have all your rules, your data sheets. It's going to have some lore, artwork, all sorts of stuff. But what's really important is there's going to be a code in the back. It's a one-time use code you can input into the Warhammer app. Warhammer app is free to use. There's a subscription, but you don't need it. Just use the free version of it. You put the codex in there, the code, and that'll unlock everything on your phone. As far as the rules, data sheets, everything you're going to need. And this can go sit on the shelf. You'll never need it again. So, just saying.
It's not a holy grail.
No, you don't need it. And every time they come out with a new edition, you're going to have to get a new codex. That's just how things roll. But once you do that, you can input your army. You can build one straight into the app. Take a look at all the different units and see what you want, then go out and make your purchases. It'll save you some money in the long run, especially if you're just getting started. While eventually you are going to want to collect all of them. That's just how it is. Once you start, you can't stop.
It's true. He can't stop.
Yeah, it's its own form of addiction. But yeah, so just that'll be the easiest way to start. All right, so inside every army that you pick, there's going to be a general army rule for your armies. So for Space Marines, they get the Oath of Moment, which lets them pick a target at a certain point every command phase, which we'll be going into later. But they get to pick a target, and everything that they shoot at it, they can reroll hits on. So it's just a buff for your army that's specific for your army. And then you'll have what's called detachments. Each army has roughly 7 detachments. I don't know the exact number per army, but we'll just say 7. And you get 3 points basically to purchase detachments. So you have 3 detachment points that you get to spend in choosing this. So this is where you can kind of customize your army to your playstyle. Some detachments are 3 points using your whole allotment there, but those are like the most considered to be well-rounded and just generally good detachments. Now you have some 2-pointers and some 1-pointers. So this is where you can mix and match. You can take a 2 that you really like, and then you can grab a 1 that's going to buff 1 or 2 of the units that you have in your army. So it really lets you customize how you're going to play. And each one of those detachments is going to have what's called a disposition.
And what are the detachments? Is that like how you put your army on the board, or like when you split up your army and you can set them up in different places? Is that what you mean by detachments, or is it all just in one generalized area?
Yeah, no, so it's like you have your army rule. That's one rule that's for the entire like Space Marine army.
Oh, okay.
Now a detachment is more of a specialized rule that comes with like a buff to where, let's say, all your units have stealth or something like that.
Oh, gotcha.
And then it'll come with its own enhancements or upgrades for your character units or your individual like infantry models and stuff. So it just gives it a little bit more flavor for you to, if you just want to stand back and shoot, there's detachments for that. If you want to get closer to your opponent and fight with swords and stuff, there's detachments for that. So there's multiple ways to play each army in this game.
And the detachments,
Mhm.
since I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm about to be doing, do the detachments have their own special buffs for where your placement is? So like if you want to have a team or one of your squad be left in the back as like a playing defense.
Yep, that's a
Awesome.
good question. Let's get into that. All right, so let's switch views here. So we're going to loop back around to answer that question.
Okay.
So with your detachments, you have what's called dispositions. There are 5 of them. All right. So if out of the 2 detachments that you pick, if let's say one of them is take and hold and the other one is disruption, you get to pick one of those to use as your army's disposition.
Okay.
So for this one, for this example, it's the disruption. All right. And then your opponent is also going to do the same thing. You don't know what your opponent's going to have until you get to the table and they tell you which one they have. So this is the disruption card. So if your opponent is playing take and hold, or let's say priority assets, let's go to the bottom here.
Okay.
So if you're disruption and your opponent has priority assets, it's going to give you a mission card. This is the mission card that you will use to score points.
Awesome.
All right. It's going to give you a list of tasks and things that you have to accomplish during the game to get these points, and when you'll score those points. All right. And your opponent will have one as well. Now, with that, each matchup is also going to have a list, have 3 different deployments. So this is how the battlefield is set up. So you and your opponent would come to an agreement on which one you would do, or you would just roll the dice to see which one you're going to set the board up with. Now each area, so you have a red side and a blue side. Everything mirrors each other, so it doesn't matter which side of the table, whether you're blue or red. But that's it's measured out in inches from the board edges, so you'll know where you can initially set up all your models.
Okay.
So this is what determines where you set your stuff up. So the detachments, no, they don't tell you. They do have some impact on this, but where you place your individual models, which it's a whole phase, we'll go into that at a later time, but the detachments don't determine that.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now we've discussed detachments in your armies. Let's go ahead and talk about what makes up your actual armies. So you will be given each person gets 2,000 points to build their army for their game. Okay, so that is what you use out of those 2,000 points to purchase your units. So each unit is going to have a cost. All right, and your app will break this down. It'll have everything in your army and what the point cost is, and it'll automatically add this up. So it's nothing you have to break out a
calculator.
Yeah, calculator, pen and notepad for. It'll do it automatically. Just download the app. It's extremely easy, user-friendly. Do that. But this right here is going to be our Intercessor Squad. Now, Intercessor Squad is 80 points. So you would just deduct, or your app would deduct, the 80 points out of the 2,000 once you select this unit. Now, a unit consists of intercessors consists of 5 models. Each individual piece is considered a model as far as how rules and other interactions in the game will specify. So these are models. The entire thing, all 5, is a unit. Now you also have characters as well. So characters, you have leaders and you have support. This is a librarian. He is support, so he has to be attached to a unit. Now, other characters like Rabute Gilliman, he's a leader, but he doesn't actually attach to a unit. He's what you call a lone operative. So he can be solo. All right. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question about the units. When you say these 5 here are a unit, it has to be 5? Just curious. Does it need to be 5 in order to get to your spending point, or is it an automatic thing? Like you'll have 5 in a unit and whatever attachments that need to come with it?
That is a good question. So let's go to our data sheet.
Okay.
All right, so yes, in answer to your question, all right, so this is an example of the data sheet. This is for the Intercessor Squad. To answer your question, there's going to be a section, and now this can be found in your app, your codex, or if you purchase the index cards, which you don't need to do. Just stick with the codex, but definitely get the app. But it's going to have unit composition towards the end of the data sheet. And it's going to give you, all right, so there's 1 sergeant model with your intercessors, and then you can have minimum 4 regular intercessors up to 9. So you add in the sergeant, and then you have to have a minimum of 4 to make the 80 points, or you can have a total of 10 models in this unit. Now, once you go from the 4 up, So when you make that break point, if you have 5 models, if you add a 6th one, you're paying for a full 10. So you might as well just take the full 10.
Ah, gotcha.
But it will essentially double the cost of the
Gotcha.
unit. So instead of 80, it'd be 160 if you
Makes
had a
sense.
full 10-man model. All right. Let's go back to the top of the data sheet. All right, so we'll start at the very top. So on your data sheets, it's going to give you the name of the unit. And then right below that, it's going to give you some stats for the unit. So M is for movement. It's in inches. That's how far in inches your unit or models can move in any given direction.
And that's up to 6 inches or
To a max.
to the max.
Yep,
So if I wanted to move like 2 inches, I can still do that. But
Yep.
6 is the max.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfectly acceptable. Yep. And then the T is for your toughness. All right. So this is going to be what your opponent is going to be measuring his weapons against your unit.
Okay.
It'll be against their toughness. SV is for your saving throw, your save, basically your armor. So if you get hit in order to save your model or your wounds, you're going to have to roll a dice, and it needs to be a 3 or better. That's what the plus is for, 3 or higher.
Better.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you have your wounds, which is W. That's the wound count. Each individual model has, for the intercessors, has 2 wounds. So it's going to take 2 points of damage to kill each one. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the LD is for your leadership. There's different interactions in the game that would require you to make a leadership check. And again, you're rolling 2. So for that, you're rolling 2 dice. You need to hit that number or beat it.
What's a leadership?
Leadership just determines if like your unit gets battle shocked. Because there's a battle shock step. If you lose half of your army or half of that unit, you'd be required to take a battle shock test. Which you roll 2 dice against your leadership check. Okay. If you fail it, then there's a penalty to your unit.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll go into that when we're talking about the command phase later.
All right.
OC, that's going to be your objective control. All right, so for the intercessors, the objective control is 2. So if you have a model on the objective, you have an OC of 2. And to hold an objective, you have to have more OC or objective control on that objective. You have to have more than your opponent does to take control of it and own it. And then if you look over, you will have, or go down, straight down. This is going to be a list of all the weapons that your models have. So you have they split it up between ranged weapons and melee weapons. Now, if we go and look, now not every weapon is going to be on every model. So if you have war gear options, it'll give you specifically what you have, what your unit starts with, but then there's other options that you can swap gear out with to make your unit better or make certain models better. Like with the intercessors, for every 5 models in the unit, one of them can have a grenade launcher.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and the sergeant, you can give him like a flamer, like a flamethrower, and swap out some of his other gear, his melee weapons.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yep. But once you, again, yes, I am preaching about the app because it makes things a lot easier. Once you select the war gear inside of the app, that's the only information it's going to show you. So you'll never have a question of what you brought with your army. It's going to be there in the app. You're not going to have a lot of what would end up being irrelevant data if you don't have all these weapons.
I see. So I don't have to think about it. I just know once I look at the app, like I got a grenade launcher equipped with one of my dudes.
Yes, and I will give you a quick example of that.
Awesome.
So, current army I'm looking at, I will place my phone here, is going to be the Custodies. So you see it's got all my all my units starts with characters and then battle line and everything. It'll give you the unit name, it'll show their war gear, and it'll also show the point value of that unit. And it's just a simple click, and then the war gear options. So
That's so
zeros
cool.
is everything that I did not check. Fours is everything that this unit has.
Cool.
So it's a simple click, and it gives you only the data for that specific weapon that you've taken.
Wow, that takes less thinking out for me.
Yeah, so the app makes things so much easier. But you have to buy a codex, so that's why we're going to go over the data sheet.
Download the app. I feel like it's worth it. I already want the app.
All right, and then, so once you go, we'll just keep going down this box. So we'll go over weapons later when we start talking about the phases that, like the shooting phase and fight phase. But below it, you have what's called keywords.
All right.
All right. So one of these keywords that you really need to notate is battle line. So battle line is a special rule for your units that allows you to take more than the maximum. So normally there's a maximum requirement of units, which is 3, or maximum limit.
Okay.
So if it doesn't say battle line, just know you can only take 3 of those data sheets. If it has battle line, you can take up to 6. You don't have to take 6, but you could if you wanted to. So the intercessors, you could have 6 different units. They could all be 10-man units. You could have 60 of these guys running around.
Ah, okay.
But as far as the character, like the librarian, he is not battle line, so you could have only 3 librarians in your army of that specific data sheet. Okay. So if you had 3 units of intercessors, you could have 3 units of librarians and have 1 attached to each one. You have 4 units of intercessors, you can still only have 3 librarians, and 1 would just not have a librarian attached to it. And the librarian, he's going to have the character keyword. So I'll let you know he's a character. But you can have 3 of him. Now the last stipulation, so with Rabute Gilliman, notice he is a epic character, or epic hero.
Epic.
So epic, if you ever see epic, there's a limitation of to only 1 data sheet. You can only have 1 model of him on the table.
Because he's epic.
Yep. And then the rest of the keywords, we'll kind of go over later, but just know all the rules, like your army rule is going to specify a specific keyword that your data sheets have to use it. That's all going to be found down here. Anything that requires your unit to be infantry or what have you, whatever it asks for, like if it asks you to have the explosive keyword to be able to use a certain stratagem, that's where you're going to find it.
Okay.
And that can come from either your intercessor squad or your librarian squad. If it asks for a psyker unit, if you have to have a psyker unit to use an enhancement or a stratagem, you're going to come here, and while the intercessors do not have that keyword, the psyker keyword, your librarian does. And since he's attached to the unit, that unit has a psyker keyword.
Awesome.
Okay? So that's how you kind of combine the things together.
And a psyker is a what?
It's a specialty. They use, like, we'll just say magic.
Oh, okay.
They use the warp, which is magic is the easiest way to describe that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if the librarian has the psyker.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So if the librarian has the psyker and he's attached to the squad, that means the squad will have that ability or that magic.
They'll have the keyword for psyker, right? So that doesn't give the individual models anything. It gives them an upgrade of, well, that's a psyker unit, so now they can ignore cover when they shoot their weapons. They'll
Okay.
get that. They don't get like any.
The ability of the librarian.
Yeah, they don't get any extra abilities. But we will go into the next keyword.
Okay.
So, because again, good question, because your librarian does give a benefit for being in a squad.
Okay.
All right, so librarian. So as far as, all right, so that's the keywords. Then you go up to abilities. So his ability is that when he's leading a unit, which is going to be those intercessors, he gives them a feel no pain against other psychic attacks.
Oh, okay. I get
Yeah.
it.
So if your opponent has, again, a psyker and some intercessors,
Uh-huh.
and his psyker uses his smite attack against your unit, you get a feel no pain against that because that's a psychic attack.
Got it.
Yeah. And he also gives the unit he's leading a 4-up invulnerable save. And we'll go into more detail on saves and all that later during the shooting phase. But normally they have a 3-up save. But if your opponent were to attack you with with a weapon that has AP2, that's going to add on to make it a 5. So you would have to roll either a 5 or a 6 to pass that. An invulnerable save is a 4-up, and it can never go higher than that.
Okay.
So your rolls can't be any worse. So if you roll a 4-up, you save.
Okay.
All right. They can never push you to have to roll a 5 or a 6 or negate your save throw.
Gotcha. That makes sense. A lot of sense.
And every unit is going to have their own abilities and their little quirks of what they can do.
Okay.
So each one's different. So when you're building your army, just read them and see how they can interact with each other. Also, with the character card, you have the leadership block. This is what tells you what units he can attach to be the leader of.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the librarian, there's quite a few Space Marine units that he can lead. But if it's not in there, he can't lead it.
Okay.
Yep. Again, this is just, we're just hitting the points of things that you need to know before we get too far into like the phases and how to actually play the game. This is all just kind of like the general bookkeeping part of it. All right. So the next term we're going to go over to is line of sight. So 40K uses that true line of sight. All right. And for true line of sight, we'll have your intercessor unit right here. And then we're going to put this Tau Piranha on the table here.
I picked those colors.
Yes. This is your Tau. All right. So for line of sight, it's any part of the model that you can draw a clear line of sight to the opposing model. All right. So we'll just use this as an example. So you can see the light. So anything that touches this, you can see this unit. All right. Now what we have is terrain, and terrain areas are also part of 40K. So this is that's going to be mirror images split up on the battlefield. So one half will look like the other, just kind of reversed. All right. And this is what you're going to be moving your units around. And terrain is also going to be, some of it is going to be designated as your objectives. So for purposes of this, we'll just say this is going to be your objective. So there's this, and the buildings and everything on it is what's considered terrain. This is considered terrain area, basically the footprint for the terrain piece.
Okay.
Now, when you're setting up your game, if you go to the Warhammer community, I'll put a link in the description of the event companion. It'll show you the battlefields and all those, the layouts and where all the terrain can be measured out to on your maps. Okay. But when all your terrain's placed, you have two different types. You have what's considered light terrain and what's considered dense terrain. Right? All of it will provide cover. So it will block line of sight for the most part. So regardless of which piece of terrain, whether it's light or dense, the terrain areas are going to be considered obscuring. Okay. No matter what's on top of it. If you cannot physically, if you're drawing your line of sight and you have to cross this terrain area, it's considered to be blocked. You can't see.
Got it.
Now the exception to that is this is light terrain. If the models, even if just one model is on the terrain area footprint, which he's on the back side of this, the piranha can now see him and therefore can see the unit.
And just to reiterate, so if they're back here and not on this physical terrain space, then technically they cannot be seen unless they're fully on here like this, or back here, obviously, and then they can see.
Yep.
Okay.
Now that's if you're drawing, if the line of sight from the piranha crosses all of that. Now, if the piranha was over more and you could draw a clear line from a piece of that piranha to one of your models that doesn't cross this area of terrain, he can now see them. Okay.
Sounds good. So as long as they're on the terrain, they are disposable. And then if they are off to the side and I can still see them, so that little red laser is very handy to see with the line of sight.
Yes, it's handy to draw like in between your corners and everything to make sure that way you and your opponent can clearly see. All right, this is not line of sight because you're crossing that piece of terrain right there and you can't see them. And it just makes it easier for y'all to agree on it.
Gotcha.
Now, terrain, but there still is a benefit of being on this terrain. So they're off of it right now. You can't see the piranha can't see you. But if you can get all of your guys on the terrain,
Yep. Okay.
Yep. So you can wrap it around. Okay. Since they're infantry, they're on the terrain piece. Every single model in the unit is within, and we'll go over within when we switch over to this one.
Okay.
The difference between within and wholly within. But since they're all within the terrain piece, meaning a piece of their base is touching the area terrain, they have what's called the benefit of cover.
Gotcha.
All right.
And explain benefit of cover.
Yep. So benefit of cover is going to make the piranha's attacks -1 to his ballistic skill.
Oh, okay.
So if normally he could hit on a 3 plus, now it's going to be a 4 plus.
Gotcha.
So it just makes you harder to hit.
Okay. Because of that.
Yep.
Awesome. Good to know.
Yep. And then there's also a rule called hidden. Yep. So infantry, beasts, and swarm units get the benefit to this rule, and that's hidden. So if they are within a piece of terrain and they did not shoot in their previous turn, they're considered hidden. So that means if this piranha was over 15 inches away from them, then he would not be able to even see them to target.
Gotcha.
He would have to get closer to you within that 15-inch mark to be able to see and then shoot. But again, you would still have the benefit of cover, reducing the lethality of his weapons.
I have a curious question for you, because you mentioned that if they didn't shoot the first round, they're still hidden.
Yep.
So if they shot during that first,
if they shot in the turn before,
if they shot the turn before,
or in the current turn,
they're not hidden because they just gave up their position.
Correct.
Was that right? Okay.
Yes. Yep. So then something could see them from across the map and shoot them.
Got it.
Without having to come in close.
Got it.
Yep.
Because they're far away and they
Mhm.
haven't shot, so it's kind of like, like an ambush or something. Like they're just still in cover and waiting
Right.
for someone to come a little bit closer. But once they
Mhm.
give up that shot, it's pretty much the your other player will know that they are
Yeah.
now free game to
Yep.
shoot on. Okay,
Exactly. That's a good term. They're free game for anything that can actually draw a line of sight to them.
cool.
Yep. All right, so that's for light terrain. Now let's step over here to this piece of dense current terrain. All right, and your dense terrain is mostly going to be on like your larger footprints or area terrains. Okay, now this one will be able to show you a little bit easier the difference between within and wholly within, because a lot of the rules will state that you have to be just within something or you have to have your unit wholly within.
Mm-hmm.
So within, same as what we covered in the other terrain, is just getting a piece of your model. Here, I'll show you on this side. So he is just barely towing what we call towing the objective. He's got a toe sticking on the area terrain piece, right? Like that. Yeah, that would be towing. That's called within. Wholly within would be the model is completely, his base is completely on that piece of terrain. And if it's referring to the unit, again, a unit is the whole thing. They all have to be on it.
The,
So if it uses the word unit, it's referring to every model
has
in
to
that
be
unit. Has
has
to
to
either
be
be wholly within or within, like
like
to get the benefit of cover when they were
uh-huh.
standing on this piece of terrain.
Gotcha.
All right.
Makes sense. Wholly within.
Yep, wholly within's all the way in. So also, another benefit of having your dense terrain is going to be if you are wholly within, and we'll set your piranha up right here. So the piranha now has no line of sight at all to these units. Even though they're wholly within the terrain,
Mm-hmm.
these have what's called the solid keyword, so you can't see through them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, GW rules is that the bottom floor of every ruin is considered solid. There's no windows, even if there's physically windows here on the piece of terrain,
Mm-hmm.
those windows are considered to be blocked off. You can't see through it.
Gotcha.
Second floor does not fall under the solid category.
Okay.
So if you were to move your models to the second floor, they could be seen by anybody that's within 15 inches, because you would still get the hidden rule.
What about if there was like terrain like that has one of these in it that have like a
Okay, bring that over. Yep, so the cathedral style is pretty common. So yep, so bottom floor, yes, it has windows, right?
but that is considered a solid so that
Yep.
you can't see through.
Exactly. Top floor has windows. Does not fall under the solid keyword. So
they
it
can
is not obscuring. You can still see through it.
okay. So
You'll
they
still
can
get,
still shoot you through then.
yep, and you will still get the benefit of cover.
Got it.
Yep.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep, so just remember infantry, beasts, and swarms, if they are within a piece of terrain, they get the benefit of cover and they'll have access to the hidden rule. Now we'll take one more style of unit. Well, actually we got several styles of units to choose from here. We're going to talk about the Kroot. All right, so this unit is considered to be mounted. They're not infantry. They're not vehicles. They have the mounted keyword. So since they are not infantry, they will not just innately get the benefit of cover for being on there.
Okay.
All right, that only applies to infantry, beasts, and swarms. If your unit does not have those keywords or one of those three keywords, then
They
you do not get hidden and you do not get the benefit of cover in that way. All right.
Would this be considered, because obviously they're mounted on something, these people are mounted on the ship.
Right.
Is that considered, but they're not infantry, beast, or swarm?
No, they are going to be considered a vehicle.
Oh, okay. Well, duh, it's a vehicle, it's a ship.
Yep.
Okay, makes sense.
All right.
But if they're riding on something like a beast or a bird or something.
Yeah, that visually, that's like the easiest way to determine that, okay, that unit is not going to be, it's going to have something other than infantry.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good
Makes
giveaway.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so with these Crew Tux riders, since they are not infantry, they can still get cover, but the way you have to do it is they would have to be positioned in a way that the piranha can't see the entirety of these models. So something would have to be blocking them visually. So take this one for instance. When you draw your line of sight from this piranha, he can see part of the model, meaning he has line of sight. But he can't see the entirety of the model because part of it is going to be hidden by the back of this area terrain.
Okay.
Okay. So that would have to apply to all of these. All right. If you wanted these guys to get into a position where they could shoot him this turn, but just know your opponent's following turn, since you shot him, he'll be able to shoot you back.
Okay.
So if you want to position them to where they have cover, you will have to set them up to where this piranha would have to move to be able to see the entirety of the models.
Oh, okay.
All right. And with that, the benefit of cover, it's all or nothing now. So you can't just leave one hidden and say that your unit, and leave these two out in the open and say, well, he has the benefit of cover. It's basically, it's an all or nothing. Your unit has it or you don't have it. Same with your infantry. If you had all these guys hidden,
Except for
but
that
you
one
left
guy.
one guy off of the terrain piece, none of them have cover now.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense. All or nothing.
Yep, just take it as an all or nothing. And then the last piece of terrain interaction we'll go over is going to be another vehicle model.
I did pick these colors as well.
Get a
Yeah.
close up.
I mean, he painted them, but I picked the colors. So I give the credit to him.
So now we're going to kind of reverse this. We'll put the towel back here behind the terrain. Your Space Marines will be out here. But normally, so remember, area terrain blocks all line of sight.
Got it.
All right. So at this point,
He's
yes,
invisible.
this big ass vehicle right here is behind it. He's not touching, so he can't see over and see these Space Marines. Same thing, they can't see him. Same thing with this piranha, because it's behind here. Now with vehicles, while they don't, it's harder to get them cover in the same sense as infantry. But if they tow in, just get within a piece of area terrain, they can now see all the way through it.
Okay.
Okay, they don't have to be wholly within or sticking out of the other side. They just have to be towed into it. And now if you can draw a line of sight from this model, and I'm referring to the piranha, the small one, if you draw a line of sight from a piece of that model to one of your opponent's models, you can see. Now you can't draw it through this barrier. Okay, that barrier is still going to block line of sight.
Gotcha.
But you can from this piece over here. So that's how a vehicle can get line of sight. And now he's staying hidden from them. Well, not hidden, but has cover from the Space Marines because they can't draw line of sight through the barrier as well. So that gives them cover. Now this is considered a Titanic unit. It has a towering keyword. So this, once he tows into a piece of terrain, he can see over everything. So this wall, any of these barriers do not block his line of sight. He can see all the way around it until his line of sight comes into contact with another piece of area terrain.
I can't see it. You
can't see that.
scoot it up a little bit more. There you go.
Yep. All right. So, like I say, he can see over all of this in the middle, but as soon as you come in contact, your line of sight comes in contact with another piece of area terrain, that stops it. So he would be able to shoot the infantry here. Now he would not be able to shoot the infantry because they're on the other side of that wall.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah. So when you had these back here,
Yep.
I forgot how you had it, but I know you had a few here and a few here, and you had the line of sight coming through here.
Yes.
Can he attack only what he sees? So let's say if these two were kind of like behind this wall right here, he can only target these four. Let's say these four, because that's his line of sight, right?
So that's what he can see,
Yes.
but because he can see those models, he gets to attack the unit.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's
everything,
right.
remember, it's all or nothing kind of applies to a lot of it. If you can see one,
you can see
you
all
basically see all of them.
So you don't have to just target these.
Nope.
It's pretty much the entire unit since his line of sight reaches, even if it was like at least one of those, he can still attack all of this.
Yep, even if it was just one, all your attacks would go to the whole unit.
Sweet. Good to know too.
Yep.
I thought it was only what you can see with your line of sight.
Yeah, so the only thing left that we need to cover with these Marines, because there is a way, like, you know, you can, when you're moving units, which we'll go over later, but you can space them out, but there's something called coherency that you have to maintain.
Coherency.
Yep. So you have to be within at least 2 inches. Each model has to be within at least 2 inches of every other model.
Got it.
So these
are not in 2 inches.
No. They're like 3.5. So that would be out of coherency. So you would have to adjust that to make everything within 2. Okay. Now there are, you know, and then the maximum coherency that they could be apart is going to be 9 inches.
Oh, okay.
So you would have to check on that as well.
So within 2 inches and 9 inches total apart.
Got it. Yep, from your 2 furthest models. You have to be able to measure 9 inches from some point on this model to a point on this model.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right, so that's the basics of some of the need-to-knows before we start breaking this down into the different phases. So next video, we'll be going over, we'll start the phases out. We'll go with deployment, on how to deploy units, the command phase, movement phase, and then all the pieces that go in with that. And a lot of this is going to be building blocks, so when we get to movement phase, some of this will make more sense because we'll be moving models around terrain and everything. Okay, so again, hit that like, subscribe, join us for the next video. Thank you.